And after the verdict, Prosecutor Chris Becker and the defense attorney Matt Bergula held a news conference sharing their thoughts and decisions on the trial.
13 on your sides, Joshua Alberta is covering that part of the story for us and joins us live with more on what they had to say. Josh, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, guys. Yeah, that was really the biggest question, right? Going into after we heard this hung jury decision, what Prosecutor Becker was going to do. Is he going to call a retrial? Is he going to not do so? Is this going to be the end of the road for this? We don't know. So we heard from Prosecutor Becker as he went into the media room here today just about an hour ago to speak with reporters about that decision. And that decision right now, he said, there's no decision. He's not making a decision right now, but at the same time, he doesn't want that really to drag out, he said. He mentioned one of the summer months in particular. He doesn't want it to drag out until then, so he's hoping to come to that decision sometime soon. But for now, there is no decision on whether or not this is going to be retried, whether or not we're going to have a new trial, whether or not there's going to be a new verdict or perhaps another hung jury. We don't know as of yet. But what he was speaking to there, some of what he had to say was about the jury. I mean, he really talked in length about the jury and the questions they were asking and how he felt the jury was really paying attention in this case, was really asking good questions. And so, you know, what he had to say about the jury was quite in depth, and I want you to take a look at what he had to say about the jury and the totality of this case as a whole as we kind of reflect on it now, and he makes his decision going forward in however much time he takes to make that decision. Take a look at what he said.
Just like just like we argued, just like the argument was, was was it the moment of the shot was fired? Was that what you're supposed to look at, or is it looking at the totality of the circumstances? More, I was arguing, was the taser a dangerous weapon or not a dangerous weapon? It's basically what you saw in the trial and what the two sides focused on, respectively. That's essentially what they were focusing on, which I appreciate. I mean, they definitely knew what the issues were, and it sounds like they had a very thorough debate on those. And they couldn't reach a decision, which is not uncommon. So I'm not criticizing them at all. I've never had a jury take that many notes and ask the amount of questions, and quite frankly, very good questions. So they were clearly engaged, clearly dedicated, and I appreciate their work they did.
And now, of course, you look at the defense as well. When we saw defense attorney Matt Bergula come in here right after Prosecutor Becker, we also had his thoughts on some of what happened in this case. He kind of told us, Becker wouldn't really allude to this, but the defense attorney kind of told us, in his belief, the jury was really overwhelmingly leaning towards an acquittal in this case. He doesn't believe it should be retried, but again, for them on the defense side, this is really a waiting game to see as to what Prosecutor Becker is going to do when he makes that decision in the coming days, weeks, months, however long it takes for him to make that decision. But he kind of talked about what he believed the jury was leaning towards, or what they were indicating to him in his belief. Take a look at what he had to say there.
It goes back and forth. It just, it was communicated that it was, there was always a majority for acquittal on both. And I don't know whether or not, this is probably your next question, they all agreed to acquit on second-degree murder or not. That wasn't communicated to us one way or the other. When I asked before the mistrial was declared, I was asking for the judge to ask the jury whether they could, if they had reached unanimity as to count one, which was murder in the second degree, and she declined. She's not required to do that under the rules, but if they had reached a verdict on murder 2, then jeopardy would have attached and there wouldn't have been a retrial.
So for them at this point, as I said, this is kind of a waiting game at this point to see what the prosecutor is going to do. But, as you're kind of hearing, he doesn't believe there should be a retrial. But, as Prosecutor Becker is making that decision, he did also say, if he's open to hearing from him, he may hear from Prosecutor Becker. He may be in communication with Prosecutor Becker as he makes that decision. But for now, it's just up to him at this point, and we're going to have to wait and see what his conversations may look like and what decision he's going to come to.
And Josh, both sides were hoping for a specific outcome for each of their side. Did they say whether this mistrial was a win or lose for them from both the defense and prosecution?
We did hear from the defense today. He specifically said, this is not a win or lose situation because, it wasn't, in their view, it wasn't former Officer Schurr's intent at any time to take a life. But, it's kind of similar to what we were hearing, from demonstrators on the street as this kind of week and a half played out here, was that, people were, no matter whether or not they took one support or the other, or didn't take a support, a lot of people were hoping that the community would kind of heal, and that, this, in their view, kind of as well, is not a win or lose situation no matter what happens, because someone did lose their life in this situation, and so that's not a win or lose. And what happens next is really going to impact the community, and they're hoping that the community will be able to heal from that, or find a way forward at least from that. But a lot of people just saying, this is not win or lose, especially when you have a hung jury and there was no decision whatsoever. But no matter the decision, for a lot of people, it was not a win or lose situation.
Josh Albertus reporting live for us in downtown Grand Rapids at the courthouse. We appreciate your reporting, Josh. Thank you.